Hey, what is up, guys? I'm Rodeo, and today I'm going to be talking about which big three that I think is better: Oklahoma's old big three and James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Westbrook, or their newfound big three just found out this season: Westbrook, Paul George, and Carmelo Anthony. So I'm going to be saying which ones that I think are better. I'm going to be going through each of their stats and each of their weaknesses and strengths, and I'm going to go through what would happen if they actually matched up now, and I'm going to be actually saying who I actually think is better now. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So I'm actually going to get into the first big three that they actually had, consisting of Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. So like when they first had their real big three. So their stats for the 2011 through 12 season, which was the season that they won the NBA, that they went to the NBA championship in. They had Kevin Durant, who averaged 8.0 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists per game, 1.1 steals per game, and 27.7 points per game. Then they also had a young James Harden, who averaged 4.1 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists per game, 1.1 steals per game, and 16.8 points per game. So obviously still extremely young. Russell Westbrook, who averaged 4.6 rebounds per game, 5.5 assists per game, 1.9 steals per game, and 23.6 points per game. So obviously Kevin Durant and Westbrook were already showing signs of huge greatness, as James Harden was still kind of developing, as they were so young. And pretty much what this big three managed to do in the short period of time that they're actually together before they blew it up in a trade, well, they made it to an NBA Finals where they played the Heat and actually won the first game 105-94. But then they actually had to go on, and I'm pretty sure it's because it was lack of experience. They went on to lose the next four in a row with LeBron, who shot 47% from the field and averaged 28.6 points per game, 10.2 rebounds per game, and 7.4 assists per game. So really, I think with enough experience, like the experience that they have now, they would beat that Miami Heat team. But obviously, with them being so young and playing as one of the best players to ever live in LeBron, they were not able to win a championship. And they also finished number one in the Northwest Conference with a 47-19 record, where they were rated number two in offense and number three in points per game. So they were obviously extremely high offense and everything. And their strengths were actually their extremely high-powered offense with three young players that were extremely offensive. For example, James Harden, he one of the best scorers. He definitely averages almost 30. He averaged 28.7 points per game last season. Kevin Durant, he plays for the Golden State Warriors, one of the most highly offensive teams in the league. He averages 27 points per game. And then Russell Westbrook, he averaged a triple-double last year and still averages 27 points per game. So three extremely offensive players, but their weakness was actually their defense and their age, and they had little to no playoff experience. As I think, like I said, if they had the big three that they have right now with experience, I do think that they could have beaten the that Miami Heat team. But with how little experience they had, they were not able to get together, and they not used to how long of an extra stretch. Like with the season one thing, but to play an entire playoff that can go over 2 months span, I don't think their bodies were just used to it as they're so young. So I think that was one thing. And then their defense was actually very lackluster, with James Harden not being very good on defense, Russell Westbrook being pretty good on defense, and Kevin Durant was average on defense, averaging 1.1 steals per game. So they all averaged at least one steal a game, but that's pretty much it. They didn't really do anything else on defense. Plus, they didn't have much of a team around them. So really, yeah. But now let's get into the new big three that was just put together this year in this offseason. So they still have Russell Westbrook, but this dude averages 31.6 points per game, 10.7 rebounds per game, and 10.4 assists per game. And he's a 2016 through 17 league MVP and a six-time All-NBA. And now the newest addition, Carmelo Anthony, 22.4 points per game, 5.9 rebounds per game, and 2.9 assists per game. And he's a 2012 through 13 NBA scoring champion and also a six-time All-NBA. And then you have Paul George. He's 23. He averages 23.7 points per game, 6.6 rebounds per game, 3.3 assists per game. He was a 2012 through 13 most improved and a three-time all-defensive, so extremely good on defense, along with Westbrook, who's extremely good on defense. And you also have Carmelo Anthony, who's one of the best offensive scorers in the entire league. And obviously, I can't say what the new Big Three has done because they haven't really done anything. Their season hasn't started yet. But pretty much what I think their strengths are, they're very complete. And what do y'all mean by complete? They have a rebounder and an enforcer in Steven Adams, who is actually being slept on, but another rebounder and enforcer in Paul George. He's going to probably average about 10 rebounds per game and still average 20 points per game. So yes, Steven Adams is gonna get them their 10 rebounds, but Paul George has the ability to get you 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and like 27 points a game. So they have Paul George, who's one of the best defenders, obviously, and then you have Carmelo Anthony, one of the best scorers of this century. He has one of the most knockdown jump shots. And with Russell Westbrook being a hit or miss shooter, and Andre Roberson just being a miss shooter, and Steven Adams not being a very good shooter, and Paul George being once again a hit or miss shooter, now you have that Carmelo dude who's just a knockdown shooter. He's cold-blooded, not afraid to take clutch shots, and he will knock down your shot, and he's going to go off for at least 20 points a game this season. And then obviously you have Russell Westbrook, one of the best point guards of this century, if not one of the best to ever play. And to be honest, I have him as the second best player in the NBA behind LeBron James. I think he's better than Kevin Durant. And yeah, I just really think he's going to be better. And Russell Westbrook's also great on defense. And he's pretty much good all around. He averaged a triple-double last year. You have to be really good to average that. And their weaknesses is no telling if this team will mesh well, because we have never seen them play together. And it depends if Westbrook can pass the ball enough, and there's going to be enough ball to go around. They might have to play with 2 balls this year. You never know, because Paul George is going to want to touch the ball, Melo's going to want to touch the ball, and you know Westbrook's going to want to touch the ball. So what I think, Russell Westbrook's going to have to stop worrying about stats as much and actually become more of a team player. And I think Melo will be able to play a little bit more of a team player, because when he played for Team USA, he actually played very well and shown what he needed to do to win a game. So he plays very well with other superstar talent. I don't know about Paul George. So really, the only weakness I could come up with is if this team is actually going to mesh well. But now I'm actually going to get into what if these big threes actually matched up today. So I think the matchups would be Kevin Durant versus Paul George. Kevin Durant has shown that he can play with the best of them, meaning he averaged a triple-double almost against LeBron in the NBA Finals. He's a top 3 player in this league behind LeBron and Westbrook, I think. I do think he's the 3rd best player in this league, and if not a top 10 player to ever live. Don't get me wrong on that. And I actually do think Kevin Durant has a huge advantage over Paul George. Yes, Paul George can probably... I just don't think Paul George and Kevin Durant are such similar players. You can't beat Kevin Durant in his own game. Kevin Durant's taller. He's going to get more rebounds. He's going to pass better. He's a better passer than Paul George, and he's a better scorer than Paul George. He's just an all-around better player than Paul George, so I have to give that one to Kevin Durant. And this actually next matchup is going to be extremely close to me. Carmelo versus James Harden. Well, Carmelo is one of the best shooters of this century and has helped bring a team like the Denver Nuggets to a conference finals. And, I mean, this dude's always not afraid to take down the clutch game-winning shot. And then James Harden has shown that he does not play defense. And telling if he's that much of a team player. Yeah, he played point guard last year and he averaged like 7 assists per game. But he was pretty much the only player, and he's surrounded by nothing but other scorers. So no telling if this man can actually be a legitimate team player. And I think we're going to see that this year with Chris Paul. But I think with Carmelo, how he's already been proven to be a great team player with Team USA, one of the best shooters in this century. And I actually do think he's a better shooter than James Harden. And with Carmelo just being able to knock down more clutch shots, I do have to give a slightly, and I mean extremely slight advantage to Carmelo. But that matchup could go either way. So I think that would be one of the closest matchups in the series if they didn't match up. And now, Russell Westbrook, since they still have him part of the big 3, Russell Westbrook then versus Russell Westbrook now. And I don't think there's any arguing that Russell Westbrook now is 10 times better than him now. He went from KD's sidekick to league MVP and averaging a triple-double, which hasn't been done, might I say, since Oscar Robinson did it. This dude had went from, in KD's shadow, kind of, only averaging, he only averaged, 4.6 rebounds per game, 5.5 assists per game, 1.9 steals per game, and 23.6 points per game, to averaging a triple-double last season and winning league MVP. This dude is a beast, and I think he's much better than he used to be. So, actually, I think I have to give this Big 3 matchup to the new Big 3 with Paul George, Carmelo, and Russell Westbrook. But I think it would be an extremely close series. And if I could actually go back in a time machine to see how this would work out, I would really want to see how it would work out. And if you don't agree with me at any point, or you do agree with me, leave it in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, and hit the subscribe button if you really, really like me. We're at 76 subscribers, and we can hit 80. Jesus Christ, we hit 80 subscribers. Thank you so much. But kids, don't think I forgot about you either. Remember, never eat vegetables, always eat your drugs. Stay safe, receive bug. Goodbye.